We're in.
VR. It's been the future of gaming for about as long as I can remember, and it's never really managed to catch on. I mean, it's not for a lack of trying. Valve's last big game was VR exclusive. Sony's tried 2 times to make it mainstream, and I mean, that's not gone very well. Even Nintendo has a VR headset.
Nintendo Labo VR Kit.
I mean, it does make sense. As games have become more immersive, and they really want to make you feel like you're
In the game.
Why not just take the TV you were playing on and put it on your face? And while it's not really managed to catch on the 10 or so times that every big company has tried to convince you it's the future, I still think VR is pretty cool. So today I'm just going to go through some of my favourite VR games and tell you all about them. VR has a lot of games that aren't really games. There's tons of these surface level experiences where you can be Batman for 5 minutes, or you can sit in a car but it won't move and then the game's over. And I've never really enjoyed those. But there are a couple of full-on, big-budget, AAA video games. And the king of those is... For those of you that don't know who Valve is, they are like the granddaddy of PC gaming. They made Half-Life, they made Team Fortress, they made Portal, they made CSGO. They know how to make video games. So when they announced back in like 2019 that they were going to make a VR game, I was all in. I was like, I've got to get a PC, I've got to get a VR headset, I've got to find a way to play this. So obviously I didn't get a PC until about 6 months ago, and only played Half-Life Alyx about 4 months ago. But it was well worth the wait. Alyx builds on the very physics-driven history of the Half-Life games by giving you the gravity gloves, which essentially turn you into a Jedi. The gravity gloves take the basic idea of Half-Life, you know, big gun, shoot laser, pick up thing. Except now, the gun is your hands, and so picking stuff up feels much more natural, you know. Someone told you to pick up that can, you really have to pick it up, you know. It feels so real. The gloves work quite simply, you know, you just point at something, flick back, catch. It's super intuitive. The sense of power they give you is unmatched in any other VR game. You can like fling stuff from across the battlefield to put in your gun, or pull a grenade out of midair and throw it back at the guy that threw it.
Ooh, grenades. The total waste of grenade.
You do also get the very obvious benefits and drawbacks of this being a VR shooter. I mean, you aim yourself, you can sort of feel the gun in your hand, you really feel like you're there. But at the same time, you really feel like you're there, and every time you bump into someone, you just instinctively duck to the floor and start screaming. It's also way harder by virtue of the fact that, again, you're aiming. I'm not very good at aiming, and so some of the fights, when you get really stressed out and there's like 5 guys and a bunch of alien things, it gets quite hard. I think part of why Alyx feels so good to play is because the world feels so real. It doesn't go full realistic immersion where everything has weight and presence like Boneworks, but I don't think that really works. I mean, I'm not going to go off on a tangent about how unfun I think Boneworks is, but when you get stuck trying to climb something because your knee is glitching into the wall, or you can't open a door because like thinks your arm's in the way or something. Yeah, that's how it would work in real life, but it's just not fun, so I don't know why you would want me to play that in a video game. It also looks really good. My PC is a kind of upper mid-tier. It's not the best you can get, but it's pretty good. But Alex just blows me away. Like, I have not played a VR game that looks this good. And again, I think that really contributes to the fact that, you know, you're there. But yeah, I mean, above all, everything just works in a way that it doesn't really in a lot of other VR titles. I mean, just look at some of these examples. Here I am trying to fend off a head crab with a chair. Here's me bumping into a KP stick, proving that even in the virtual world, the dishes are inevitable. You can even play the piano. This is also one of those rare VR games where the story consists of a bit more than hit the boxes or go shoot the guys. There's an actual story going on. I mean, it's not crazy, it's not The Last of Us, but for people that like Half-Life, there's some pretty cool stuff in this game. Spoiler alert for this 3-year-old VR game that you probably won't play, but the ending is, it's so cool. You go face to face and the G-Man's right there and he's like right up in your head and he's like, hello, Mr. Freeman. But he doesn't say that because you're actually not playing as Gordon Freeman. But then he does this crazy thing that changes the end of the last Half-Life game. And then you're playing as Gordon Freeman for like 20 seconds and then you get given the crowbar and it's like, whoa, oh my god, where are they going to take this? They haven't made another one. They're probably never going to make another one. But it was very cool. If you're a Half-Life fan, I would really recommend playing this. You probably already have a PC, because I think the only way to play this on console was the orange box, which you probably don't know about. But yeah, I mean, it's really sick. It's Half-Life, but you're in it. I'd also recommend that if you do play this, go through it a second time with the developer commentary on, because hearing how they made all this work is quite impressive. Like, you see all these little graphs that appear in real time showing how they like simulate the physics of the water in the glass and the things coming towards you when you do the cool hand thing. These guys are computer wizards, and I don't understand how they do any of this. However, there is one big downside to Alex, and that's that you do need a pretty good PC to play it. I did use the Quest 2 as my headset over Oculus Link. Oculus Link is not very good, and we'll get to that later. But you can't play it on just this. So it's not a £300 investment, it's more like a £1,000 investment, which is quite a lot of money if this is the only VR game you want to play. Now, if you still want to play a great VR game that's also just a good game, and you only have a Quest 2, there's one thing that I'd recommend, but it's pretty evil.
Resident Evil 4.
Yes, it is once again time for me to just gush about Resident Evil 4. Sorry. While it's not based off of that beautiful remake that just came out, Mess's VR port is a pretty great way to experience this quite old game. But just because it's based off of the bones of the 2005 release doesn't mean this isn't a good time. I mean, it has all of the content you'd expect. It's got the insane campy campaign, it's got the amazing mercenaries mode, it's chock full of angry Spaniards, it's got everything you want. It's probably the most fun you'll have on the Quest 2, and it's definitely the most fully featured game. It might not be as AAA immersive experience as Boneworks tries to be, or Alex succeeds in being, but for a game that runs on what is essentially an Android phone stuck to your face, it's really impressive. As far as ports from flat screen to VR go, this is one of the best. The only real downside is that every time a cutscene plays, you're teleported into the void cinema and you have to just watch it up on the big screen in front of you. And every time there's a QuickTime event, you don't mash buttons like in the original, you just do this, which feels really weird. It's not the best for first timers to VR, or people that get motion sick quite easily. I mean, my dad tried it once and just was not feeling good for the rest of the day. But if you're pretty comfortable with very, quick, intense VR experiences, it's a very good time, and it's pretty cheap, so I definitely recommend it. This is the classic VR game. If you've only ever heard of one, chances are it's this one. It is probably the most fun I've had playing a rhythm game, and it's also probably the scariest rhythm game, because, it's not just like little beats moving along a track very, leisurely, nice and calm. It's all these huge boxes just flying at your face and you've got to hit them all with these swords or else you're going to die. It's also probably the most physically demanding rhythm game ever. It's not like full-on exercise, but when you go from the normal levels to the expert plus levels, it's just impossible. You just got to move faster than the speed of light. If you've ever seen a video of like high-level Beat Saber gameplay, like I don't know how people move this fast. The fact that you yourself don't move and that most of the songs in this are super popular things you've probably already heard of makes this one of the most accessible VR games. I mean, you could give this to your grandma that's never played a video game before, you could give it to a 10-year-old, they'd probably still have a pretty fun time. I mean, maybe don't throw them into the deep end and give them something expert plus, because that's probably going to kill grandma. Yes, you do look very stupid playing this game, more so than most others, but that's all part of the fun, right? Now it's time for the VR lightning round. Virtual reality. It's pretty old, it's not very long, but it is quite fun, it's pretty interesting. It's like a VR game about unionizing or something, which doesn't sound very cool, but it actually is. Space Pirate Trainer is an oldie but a goodie. It's pretty stupid that Vader Immortal is split into 3 parts when it's not even really the length of the full game combined, but the dojo is very cool, especially if you happen to be someone that likes Star Wars. That's me. I like Star Wars. Job Simulator. It's not as fun as your favourite YouTuber made it look back in 2016. Super Hot VR lets you feel like John Wick. Enough said. Nope. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is too scary.
Wow.
Horizon Worlds. Potentially one of the worst software experiences I've ever had. Nothing works properly, nothing makes sense, it's just pubs. And comedy clubs.
This comedy club sucks.
Okay. You have to pay? They want you to pay?
Concerts with like tons of children that don't seem to know what's going on, tons of old people that don't seem to know what's going on.
Can you see me?
Yeah. But
That's weird.
what's wrong with my arm? Cause it's like attack.
It's really buggy, the physics don't really work very well, you look like this, I mean, it's just awful. And on the topic of so-so meta software experiences, Quest Link is awful. It sounds really cool, you plug your Quest into your PC with USB-C cable and then boom, you can play Steam games or Oculus Rift games. It's a very good idea, but it just doesn't work. It crashes like every hour, it glitches out really strangely, menus just move around, it's not very good. They should fix it. PlayStation VR was pretty cool. Star Wars Squadrons was like a life-changing experience for someone like me. The move controllers suck, the gun controller was cool, having to use the PS3 Move camera was not very cool. Everyone looks like an amazing piece of kit, but it costs more than the PS5 and doesn't seem to have any games that would justify turning your PS5 on. I'm staying away from that. Labo VR. I don't think you can buy this anymore, but it was really cool being able to build a VR headset out of essentially the box it came in. It was also pretty cool being able to just like stick the Switch screen into it and do all these interesting motion control things with the Joy-Con. For someone like me that quite likes Lego and building stuff, it was pretty fun putting it together, like folding all the cardboard and popping all the pieces out and sticking all the stickers on to show up on the IR camera. It's fun, but I don't think you can buy it anymore, so you missed out. So that's my whistle-stop tour of a few things VR. Obviously I had a lot more to say about certain Half-Life games than others, but yeah, VR's pretty cool. Again, this isn't really a review of the Quest headset itself, which I did say I was going to do. It's pretty good. The battery lasts about 2 hours, it's comfortable, the controllers are nice. I've not really got much else to say about that. It's more so a look back on some of the greatest hits of the medium before Apple comes in about 2 weeks' time and inevitably changes everything with their very expensive, probably not really worth it VR headset that will forever decide the direction the industry goes in. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about VR. The only real things you should take away from this video are that it's pretty cool and I like it, and that Valve rocks at making games.